Will the secretary please take the roll?
Okay.
This has been something that we have talked about for a few years, actually, is that we're finally at the point where we believe that we need to move to a domain server. And M-Suite wrote up this very wonderful proposal for me that described all the equipment that he needed. And we feel at this point, after doing especially the budget revisions, is that we can go ahead and purchase it. And because it's over $10,000, we are asking for permission to spend the money to do it.
And Kimmy, I do have a question. I know later on you'd said that he was also speaking with the new IT director of the city. So what type of partnership, or are we just kind of interested in what, whether there's any more efficiencies that could be had by doing some partnering, or whether the city has a domain server, or what, the note simply said they met.
Well, they meant to kind of familiarize us with the city. We actually pay the city for, how is that phrased, Becky? Is that kind of some sort of assistance? And it has to do with use of some of their staff, like Carla, who helps with some of the things that Becky has to do. And then also is we have something in the administration office where we're connected to the city for doing payroll. And now with doing the budget with the new comptroller, we're actually going to be doing our budget online as opposed to creating it on a spreadsheet and submitting it, because as he said, is that when we submitted it with a spreadsheet, they actually had somebody who would go ahead and enter it manually. So now we're actually going to be submitting it online. But Sanford also, we had talked to him about the possibility of, with Heather, with the graphic services staff, is we're working on Creative Suite 2, and we had talked about we need an upgrade. We haven't done it in years. And the city has Creative Suite 6, I believe. And there may be a way for us to share some of that as well. But in terms of a domain server, we had always talked about getting one internally just because of the specific needs that we have. And also the, how do you put it, is sometimes at the city there might not be people there when something like that.
Okay. I just kind of want to clarify, that makes more sense that the library would get their own.
Yes. Efficiency-wise, I will tell you is that I'm very impressed with MC, is that we had a group of computers that were in the executive director's office that had been sitting there for quite some time, and we had actually written a procedure for them to be wiped out, and it was being done one by one. And MC determined that there's a piece of equipment that I could buy for $43, and he got them all done the day after. And so those are actually going to be utilized now, and so they're going to be gone by the end of the time. I'm very excited.
Thanks.
The not to exceed 15,000, what's the hoped for cost of this? We had an RFP, I presume.
I have that ready to me. I should have included that in the packet.
I'm just curious. It's a big number and it's a round number, and I know the cost of hardware is in some rounds.
There are several pieces of equipment that are included in this. One of them is for, I can't even determine what some of these things would be, but he gave me a figure of $13,000. But when Deb and I started talking about Deb as our consultant for the budget, she says there's always extra things that come up. And so that's why we rounded it up a little bit more just in case. Okay. Does that seem fair?
Absolutely.
Is that all for hardware, or is some of that like a license for the domain server? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I've got cables in here, SmartPro, I imagine there is license for someplace though. We're all kind of hunting and pecking around for things, but of course, we're also switching to Outlook, so none of us can find anything, but.
It's called the learning
It actually
process.
is much better.
The 2-month up and running time, is that a generous time period, or is that cutting it close, or do you think, how realistic, I guess I should say?
Well, because MC only works on the weekends.
Yeah.
That's probably why he's saying 2 months pending. The fact is that he is going to be putting in some extra hours for RFID projects, but my guess is that he's going to be pretty close on this one. I have found with him is that he's working faster than I've ever seen
Really?
anybody work.
Wow,
So,
continues to be impressive.
very impressed. So,
Excellent. Finance.
Well, we need to,
Oh, we need to actually,
It's an action.
is that as an action item, that's right?
It is an
Oh,
action
sorry.
item. Yeah, it's an action item.
Where is my,
I
we have a motion.
vote approval of this expenditure.
We need a motion. You have to move it.
I meant to say I move. Sorry.
That's okay.
I move approval of the expenditure of 15,000,
Second.
up to 15,000.
All right, do we need to do this by consent, or do we need to do a roll
No,
call?
it's just
Okay.
aye,
Do the amount, okay. Well, all in favor, say aye.
I
Clearly passes.
Could I go back and ask a question in the previous paragraph? What is a prox card door? I'm sure I should know, but is that this thing that gets
It's the card to
the
scan
card
to
that
get
we
it.
use to get in
people
and
who work here
in and out.
can use to get in and out? That's what I figured. Is prox short for proxy or
Proximity.
Proximity.
Proximity. You could put it close to the reader, and then it will read it rather than
So
having to
it's-
swipe anything.
So it is for proximate to? Okay.
Proximity,
all right.
that you just put it within the proximity.
Yeah, within the proximity. Okay, very good. And then I like the fact that Don Cassidy was given a mention for the RFID efforts, so I just wanted to say that.
She's keeping us on task.
But thank you for putting that.
I think it, yes, and I think it should be acknowledged publicly. So
Which you've just done.
now we can go on.
All right, and we will. We'll hurtle on toward finance. And the March budget revisions. And I think the discussion of the upcoming fiscal year's draft.
It was nice to have all the things listed out. It was really helpful. In past years, it's been, you have
That's
to
clear.
look at it.
Yes.
So thank you for that.
It made sense the way it was all laid out.
It
there.
did,
Yes,
it really
nice
did.
and logically done.
It made
Intelligible.
eminent sense.
Do you want to talk about the budget situation in terms of
Budget.
timing and,
Actually, Becky and I met with Rich Henschel, who's the new comptroller, today. So we have a little bit more information that everything that you saw and probably would be included with our draft budget for 2015 is right on line. Everything is going to be flat. We would include cost of living, not cost of living, we would assume. He said, make that flat, what's the other, step increases. He said, go ahead and include step increases. To not put anything in for health insurance right now. They really, and especially he, since he's new, really, this is his first time going through it. When I said something to him about meeting with them and the mayor, he says, do we normally do that? And I was like, well, yes. So he's really kind of new to this. He's learning as he goes along. So it was a very, very helpful discussion with him. But we can go ahead now, we have the information to go ahead and plan the budget. But the problem is we normally would present a draft of the fiscal year 2015 budget in our packets for this
Right now.
and we didn't have that information in order to do that. So we have to submit our final budget online on March 28th. Now, that would mean that you would want to see that and approve it before we actually go ahead and submit that. So we have an option of, I asked Becky, I said, do we normally go ahead and do they have to look at a draft and approve a draft? And then we go back and then we create our final from that. It's kind of up to you on to how you want to handle that. Do we want to put in an extra board meeting in here to discuss the budget, especially the final one? But do you want to discuss a draft before that?
You know, I think we could discuss the final budget
I think-
without a draft.
I think so,
mean,
too.
we've kept this up, and as we do the quarterly revisions, everything, I'm not anticipating any surprises. I don't know if anyone else, but it would be good to have
We
some
need to be on
discussion
record as
and-
having
Well,
done
just
so.
Right.
having these adjustments listed out,
Yes.
it makes
Mhm.
it so much easier to talk about.
And all of the things are itemized that would be included in the
Right,
2015 budget. It wouldn't change very much.
No,
The
no, no.
only thing would be adding the new executive director's
The
salary.
salary stuff, right.
And Mark has given us information for that, so we know how to proceed. And especially after meeting Rich today, everything's listed, there's really not much to add.
I think you're right about that.
Okay.
Well, I think part of the reason that typically we don't vote on something the same night it's brought up is so the public can comment on it.
Absolutely.
So I wonder, how much time would we have between the next meeting, I guess the last Tuesday of the month or so, and getting the budget so we can post it online at least, so people who want to comment could.
Well,
It's a very-
what I wanted
So, here are our calendars here, yeah.
to say is that I have to submit it online by March 28th. And if you wanted to do a meeting on the 25th to approve it, that would mean that probably for us, we would have to get it out at the end of the previous week, is that right?
We normally try to patch that, but typically the only requirement we have is to have the agenda out within 48 hours before. So, I mean, we try and package that way too to be,
This isn't going to be a difficult budget.
No, I understand, I'm just trying to,
Not at all.
yeah, I
But
understand.
we want to do it right, so.
Yeah.
So if you posted it on, when you have to submit it on the 28th, if you posted it online, that would give you until the second week of April to comment on it to us, is that right? Because it's not really a final.
No, we have to.
No, we have to talk about it
We
before.
have to talk about it before.
We have to have a
March 28th.
special meeting.
The city needs
Whatever I
it, right.
post online, you have to approve first.
Now, obviously, we can always revise the budget if that's necessary.
Well, we're always doing
We're always doing that, we're always.
we do that.
So should we set a meeting for the 25th at 7 o'clock?
That's spring break week then.
I'm good that day.
You're here?
I'm on that Tuesday, maybe not.
How many can make that date? Do we have a quorum? I can. I think we have a quorum, so let's set a meeting up for the extra meeting for the 25th, Tuesday, 25th at 7. Now,
7 o'clock?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, yes.
I have a quick question. As a library, do we have any reserves, financial reserves? When we talk about the budget, what comes in, what goes out, but do we have something set aside for rainy days, for example?
We have the city verb.
the VERF.
Yes, the city does set aside some for us. We have been very fiscally astute the last many years, and we do have some liquidity, which we have talked about in times past. We have spent out of, that is kind of a finite amount, because it's based on underspending, and sometimes that happens better than others.
Yes.
But the city does also supposedly have a VERF that they created for, like, if our air handling system goes out, or something that's huge that is in part of our budget, that they will help us with.
Because we had the budget of the land nearby, and then the search, but we did so well with the search for the director, but we have some money saved, and then the extra salary for the director, the incoming director.
The land purchase was actually done by the foundation.
Foundation.
The difference
The
is-
library did not purchase that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I take it.
What does BERF stand for?
Vehicle equipment and replacement fund.
That was fast.
It sounds like a catch-all,
Yeah.
but it's a helpful
But
thing.
we can
It
use
allows
it
the city to-
for anything.
We use it for automation, purchases and things like that.
Vehicle and rainy day fund.
I'm assuming that means like
Not a
fire
big
trucks
fund,
and
no.
things like
It's not big,
I just want to back up for a minute, make sure I understand something. You mentioned we have a flat budget, but we've been given the go-ahead and implement the step line. Is that going to be funded, or is that actually?
We don't know that yet. He said to go ahead and put it in the budget. Also looking at told us not to go ahead and put that in. Right, but the other, he told us that because it's something that is, how do you describe that? It's part of,
Yeah.
it's awarded,
It's
been-
understood.
Yes, it's understood that to put it in, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to approve it, I guess. So-
I remember, the budget didn't come to the city council last year till May to approve for the library, so I wonder what happens all of it. Is there, once you put it online, is there any changes that we can make to it as a library board?
Well, I included in the packet the budget timeline, and according to the budget timeline, he goes ahead and he creates the actual budget, the spiral bound that goes to the mayor. And also, again, these are things that I don't think he quite understands either, because I said something about going to city council, because there has always been a presentation at the city council, and he said that he was not sure about that either. So I don't know that I can answer the question right now, unfortunately.
Well, I think there's a lot of things are going to change over the next couple of years. We have new eyes looking at this in the city and here, frankly, too. So
I think we're lucky to be in the position we are to not have to worry too much.
yes.
Or champagne. I'm not.
All right. Well, I think we have an action item on the March budget revisions. Any questions about this? We need a motion.
Move to approve the March budget revisions.
For a second.
I second.
Any discussion about questions? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Reports. Do we have any reports? Friends or July Foundation or something?
I had a question. I was interested to read about the Heartland Library System survey, and I just wondered what you responded, because you said you did, but
I actually asked if I could, because it only was up for a few days.
yeah, well, that's
And
typical.
I went ahead and I went to go ahead and do it, and it had already been shut down, so I contacted IHLS and I said, I didn't have the opportunity to do this. And they said, oh, well, let me find out from so-and-so, and I never heard, and there were the responding that then was already counted.
It was.
So I never had the opportunity to respond.
You never did.
No,
Okay.
I did not.
What would you have said? Did you have any kind of...
I was actually going to talk to the administrative team
okay.
about the whole thing, because that's our typical way of doing things,
Right.
is, what would you say? So I didn't have that opportunity. And of course, it would have been nice to have the new executive director weighing in.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's kind of like this big silence that we can't fill.
Well, we've been finding out with a lot of things. Right now, we're saying, let's just wait.
Well, and it's also going to take her some time to formulate some thoughtful
Sure.
answers to those things, too. So. All right. Reports of the administrative staff. You're still on bed. Still bad.
It's like at 20 days and counting. Here's something, is that we, after doing the budget revisions, we determined that we did have money to purchase a new awning for the front porch. Our awning that we had could not be patched up any longer.
Looking red.
And so we determined that we do have the money. The Friends have expressed interest in helping us with it, but we have decided, it would have been nice to get more input on it, but we have to order it like right away in order to get it from mid-May to get it up. But we decided that we sat there and we talked, we always traditional blue and white, Or do we break from tradition and start off new with something a little bit different? And we came up with forest green and natural. Any thoughts on that? We thought it was,
It's our color. Well, I'm not wearing my name tag. There you go.
So
Yeah,
that's
that's true
like
too.
Just give in to
it's kind of like an off-white.
So you're asking for the opinion of eight amateur designers.
We already did the work.
Let me make sure I got that, I understand this.
I told you I could have joked and told you we were getting orange and blue, but.
I think it's great.
That's fine.
We thought it was a change, it was a new beginning. Kind
Good
of,
idea.
And I do kind of consider this like eligible library, so I think that fits naturally.
it would go nice with the plants.
Mhm.
And these are red, white flowers, and we thought it would be great.
And Urbana is a green city.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, there goes my desire for orange and black. Clearly, I'm outvoted.
See, and the department reports, I actually had a question, just more out of curiosity from Mary, the DCEO Eliminate the Digital Divide program grant, well, how big are these grants? I mean, do you know, are they like a couple $100 or?
No, they're far more substantial. The one that Martin Wolski is running would have 4 or 5 community partners. And if we received it, it might be enough to give us 2 part-time staff members that would be trainers. They could help in the lab, train the patrons and train the trainers. Right now, Amber, who's been in charge of our Computer 101 class that we have, has been planning ways to improve it so it's less staff intensive and more beneficial for the different patrons. And this would allow her to have staff to upgrade it and perhaps offer more classes on a drop-in basis. So it would be great. Well, we were actually asked by 2 people, so it was sort of a nice courtship. Yes.
Okay, thank you, yeah, it just definitely caught my eyes. Oh,
It could be very nice.
Well, in the acquisition section of the report, here, there's 4 donations, four, which I think I want to acknowledge publicly here. $720 in memory of Pat Clifford, $50 in memory of Greg Bliss, $100 in memory of Betty Ann Knight, $200 to administrative gifts. So I don't know who the donors are. I presume they're going to get letters of thank you, but we acknowledge that here. Thank you very much for that. Let's continue with the staff adult services.
Let's see. Oh, I did another question, sorry.
Yes.
Oh, I have all highlighted here.
Cool.
Actually, just Anka, just the fact that you're interviewing people, you have on-site interviews, they may have already had them. What's your timeline, or what do you hope?
Well, we have made a selection of the final candidate we would like to offer the position to. And I just heard back from the Civil Service Commission today that at this point we do not have to get them involved and we can make the offer. It is after the 6-month probationary period that we have to present her to them, and then they provide the final approval of the position.
Perfect, yeah, really.
Now we know.
Okay, well, that's really positive.
Yes.
So when do you think it might be all settled?
Well, I would hope to, make the offer in the next couple of days. She can start May 1st. So she's not local,
Okay.
so she's moving. From
You're happy?
Yes.
Great.
I had, she met our committee, various admin staff, but I also had a meet and greet with all the architect staff, which there are 7. And so they also give the input, so that was very nice.
Sounds good.
Yeah, very excited. Great. Out of the bag.
Great, and it's good the city civil service staff also were very helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes people get bad reputations and they're not really deserved.
Yeah, no, they were very helpful, especially Liz Warman of the city. She's very on ball and responds and has the information.
All right, circulation, any reports?
We're on track. We're moving along and trying to get everything in place for mid-April. So excited that it's end is in sight.
Great. All right, unfinished business.
You'll have nothing to do?
Well, from what I hear, there's, the first couple months you're
You're not going to be
adjusting.
bored.
Coming down off of an adrenaline high.
Yeah, that too, that too.
Unfinished business. Says here we have to accept the search committee recommendation, which is an action item, and accept the signed letter of offer. And then we're going to have a closed session. Is this the right order?
Yes.
Chris is here just a minute.
Oh,
Well, I would move then to accept the search committee recommendation.
Second.
any discussion? All in favor,
Ready.
say aye.
Aye.
And then the signed letter of offer.
I would also move to accept the signed letter of offer.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Chris, do you want to take us into it? Okay. I guess now we need to go into a closed session for purposes of discussing personnel pursuant to the, I'm not sure how to read this,
Pursuant to statute.
pursuant to the Illinois statutes. So I guess we need to take a motion, take
Take
a roll call vote on this.
Now, we get the roll call.
Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I move that we go into closed session.
Second.
Can we have a roll call?
Sure.
Jane. Anna, yes.
Aho, yes?
Chris, yes.
Beth, yes.
Mark, yes.
Mel, yes.
Scott?
Oh, yes.
All right. Will there be, do you expect an announcement after? at the end of
Well,
this?
only that we approve the contract.
Okay.
It would not be
We'll see.
details.
Okay. All right. Are we getting across the?
Oh, yeah.
The Board of Trustees will go back into open session. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Bill, yes?
Scott, yes.
Mel, yes.
Mark, yes.
Beth, yes.
Chris, yes.
Ah, yes.
Anna, yes. Jane, yes.
Do we have a motion to proceed with the contract for our appointed, our selected
So moved.
director?
So moved.
A second to that.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Move for adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Closed.